From London, England, where the Queen lives.
Recorded live from an underground bunker and packaged into an MP3 with a pretty little picture. Helping to kickstart your day with the motivation and inspiration you need 365 days a year. This is the Learn, Develop, Live podcast. And this is your host, Chris Jaggs.
Good morning! I'd like to give you a big welcome to another episode of the Learn, Develop, Live podcast. It's episode 49, people. It's also Monday, and that means it's a brand new week. It's a brand new week full of possibilities and opportunities. Come on, people, let's get up and let's get after it. Whatever dream you're chasing. My name is Chris Jaggs, and I'm your host, producer, director, and CEO of the show, and the creator of the Learn, Develop, Live method. Help you identify an issue or problem, developing a habit to eliminate the problem before it helps you live your life on a higher level. You know, the one that you've been chasing. Do you want it to happen to you? I know you do, so let's get after it. We are on episode 49, and next week we have the big 50, and also kind of cross over the 1 year birthday. Happy birthday to the podcast. You know what I mean? It's going to be a week packed full of content for you, pure motivation and inspiration just for you. Now, following on from last week, we had how to get organised, and part of that led on to probably one of the biggest things you can do for your daily organisation is a to-do list. Now, some people love them, some people don't see the point of them, and you won't do that if you don't use them properly, but they really do work. Now, before we kick off, let's have the drop and get ourselves going.
The Learn, Develop, Live podcast, getting you ready for your next big adventure.
It was a big one.
Here we go then. How do you take what we took from last week with getting yourself organised to the next level? As I said earlier, I see the to-do list as the most useful tool that you can have, especially when trying to get yourself organised. Whether it's just a scrap of paper or a fancy looking job list, they both have the same purpose: to have details of whatever you need to do. In a way, another type of doing this could be like a cooking recipe. Detailed description of how to make something step by step. It has the same purpose, and the end result is whatever you've ended up cooking. A nice cake, family dinner, the list goes on. There was a survey that LinkedIn put together, which looked at how the professional to-do lists are in need of a bit of a makeover. It turns out that we're great at listing the things we need to do, but not so good at actually doing them. In fact, 90%, almost 90% of those who took part in the survey admitted they're unable to finish all the tasks on their to-do list by the end of an average workday. So if you're sick of tackling the same old stale to-do list every day and cannot it short, here are 4 key strategies that could change all that for you. The first step is to keep a single master to-do list. Now, if you think about this, if you wanted to get a complete view of all the tasks you had to get done for work right now, chances are that you couldn't find all on one piece of paper. Instead, you've probably got a few post-its here, saved draft in your emails, notes jotted on stickies on the computer, maybe a checklist app on your phone. How about the notice board you have on the fridge? But if the goal is to actually get everything done, having a single place for your work-related task is a must. So pick your method of choice and start putting that together. The list can be handwritten, in your trusty planner, a document that you keep on your desktop, an app on the phone, whatever it is you want to do. It's all about your very own thought process. Just make sure whatever method you use, you can add your own list from anywhere. This means that if you have a desktop app, you'll want to set up a system to capture the to-dos that crop up while you're away from the computer, such as assignments that you could get in a meeting or on the phone call during your commute home. Then you got to try and remember that one job you got to do first thing in the morning. One of the most favourite preferences is to email those reminders to ourselves, then delete the email once we transfer them to a master list, but simply writing them all down on sticky notes and transcribing them to the file works too. The best example I can give you from experience is working in the toy shop. Back from the days in the fallen Woolworths, the jobs list was called the Focus and Glance, or the F&G for short. Every Monday there will be a walk around the shop floor, which we'd use to see how the place looked, pick up the jobs that needed doing. Maybe that needs filling, maybe that needs moving. The jobs were listed on the F&G as if this was the master list for the store. As this was completed, in my head, I knew who would be doing each job, based on the task itself, who was working that day, and obviously the priority of the job. The biggest jobs would need to be done first thing before the store opened, as you couldn't really move much around with people moving around the shop, kids running around the place. You might have had shelves and brackets on the floor as you moved the bay around, or maybe a stack at the front of the shop being built before opening. Okay, so we got the master job list, but obviously not everyone can have this to hand, can they? So this is where I'd then write each person their very own job list with each of the tasks that, I'd already planned in my head to be given to them. As I said before, whether it's a fancy job list, which F&G could have been looked as, the jobs list given out to the staff, literally just piece of paper with a list on. Simple, but extremely effective. The next step is how to get the jobs done. Now, in terms of the shop task, the priority was to have the most important ones at the top, and the priority of each one was explained to each person as they got their list. Sometimes these lists could have 10 things on, but a lot of the time, a lot of those tasks would just be quick jobs, 5 or 10 minutes, and then job done. Explaining the job list to the person, it might have had 10 things, but if you say, do X, Y, and Z, that's 3 things done in 20 minutes. Another approach was something I saw the team at themuse.com do, following the 1-3-5 rule. This rule is basically broken down into, on any given day, assume that you can only achieve 1 big thing, 3 medium things, and 5 small things, and then you can narrow them down to 9 things on your list. Now, while that might sound scary to some, at first it could be, but like it or not, you only have so many hours in a day, and you are only going to get a certain number of things done. Forcing yourself to prioritise by creating 1-3-5 lists means the things you accomplish will be the things you choose to do, rather than those things that are given to you to get done. Of course, the number of tasks themselves can be flexible. If you spend much of your day in meetings, for example, you might want to reduce the number of tasks. Or if your position is one where each day brings you lots of unexpected to-do things and assignments, you might want to try leaving 1 medium and 2 small tasks blank. Just prepare for the last minute request. This of course doesn't mean you need to limit your master to-do list to just 9 things. Rather, you should just have 2 kinds of lists. One large kitchen sink list, and everything you have to do at one point, all in one place, and just another shorter one. The one that's going to give you the direction that you need for that particular day. One thing you could do to help you with the 1-3-5 rule is to take a few minutes before you finish the day, just define the 1-3-5 for the next day, so you're ready to hit the ground running when you come in. Planning ahead like this also means that you're going to have more informed conversation with your manager when he or she drops something new, that needs to be done straight away, as well as the tools to reprioritise all your other work. For example, when a surprise presentation falls in your lap, try, sure, I can get it done by 3, but the Q1 reports won't be ready until tomorrow, as I had that scheduled for today. There are many different ways on how to approach your day. It's just about finding the one that really suits you best. Another step which really helps some people is to try and complete 1 massive task before lunch. This one can be tough, but it does work. Take one of your big or medium tasks and tackle it first thing in the morning, even before checking email if you can. From experience, there is no better feeling than crossing off that big task off before lunch. Motivation expert and author Brian Tracy calls it eating your frog, a nod to the famous Mark Twain quote, eat a live frog first thing in the morning and nothing worse will happen to you for the rest of the day. You can look to identify your frogs for the next day, the most difficult tasks or the ones you enjoy the least, the night before. That can help immensely prepare you to tackle them in the morning, and it keeps you from putting them off first thing the next day, then the next day. The last step to do is you can block your calendar. If you find that you always overestimate how much something's going to take you in one day, you could try allocating time for each of your things to do on your calendar, just like you would if you were scheduling meetings. Once you've identified a task for you to do, or 1-3-5, try scheduling them. Block off the appropriate amount of time for each one. The important thing here is to be realistic about how long each thing will take you. Writing that important email to a client might take you 15 minutes, for example. but doing the Q1 strategy report for your team may take a few hours. It's easy but dangerous to fall into the trap of letting critical work products be relegated, to the moments left over in between meetings. Time blocking is a great way to ensure you're making time for real work. The things that will benefit you and move the business forward, especially if you're paying clients you are working for. When you try blocking parts of your calendar, also make sure you block time in your calendar for catch up on email, brainstorming and other important but not so much deliverable oriented tasks. If your responsibilities allow it, try blocking an hour in the morning and an hour in the afternoon just to work through the inbox, and then discipline yourself not to spend time in between handling emails when you plan to be working on something else. Now, those are the main parts of how to master the to-do list, but as I've said, not everything there will work for you. Maybe only one point will work for you, maybe even none, but you have to give it a go after all, don't you? If you have a method that works for you, please let me know and I can share it with the rest of the class here. So that is the plan and ideas set. Why not start and give them a go now and see if any of those work for you? Again, if you have something that works for you, please let me know. If something works better, I'd like to hear about it. As always, if you'd like to talk some more about this, please take advantage of those free 30-minute LDL power calls. Head over to ldlcall.com, book your slot, and we can talk about how we can help you with a to-do list, if you need one, or anything else at all that's bothering you. As for now, good luck with your to-do list, stay safe, especially out there in that crazy world, and I'll see you in the next one.
Goodbye.
What? It's over already?
All over.
Thank you for listening to the Learn, Develop, Live podcast. I hope you feel as warm, motivated, and fuzzy inside as I do. You can connect with Chris at learndeveloplive.com or on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
I won't say goodbye. I'll just say until we meet again.
Until next time, join the motivation. Motivation.